Hello dear friends, welcome to Gate Academy Global. So before starting today's session, I would like to take the feedback or the concurrence regarding the quality of audio as well as video. If it is perfect, just write perfect over the live chat and then we are ready to go ahead. The agenda behind the series which we have been running over the engineering mathematics must be known to all of us. We have been started the engineering mathematics from the very basics part of its core. At very beginning I was discussing about the logarithmic function. In last video I talked a bit about the straight line, and in today's video I am going to take around 7 to 8 number of problems which are completely based on the concept of the straight line. Once you are done with the 8 number of problems which we will be taking in today's class, probably you would be more than thorough over the straight line. And now many of the students would think, sir, where the straight line and the problems related to the straight line do come into the picture. My dear friends, this year, even last to last year, the 2 to 3 very best design problems have come from the straight line, and the straight line is not only important for the engineering mathematics, even it is important in your core subjects also, So without getting delayed, the agenda must be very clear to all of us. Yes, we have been started with the new series of the engineering mathematics where we are learning each and everything related to the engineering mathematics from its very basic, and it has been the third video on that. And in today's video we are going to discuss about the basic curve, and the basic curve which we are going to discuss in today's class is going to be merely a straight line. Each and everything must be clear to all of us, and I would request to each one of you, try to maintain the coherency. Like I have seen many of the students used to attend one class and they used to bunk the second class and they attend the third class. See what happens. That's different story together, that whenever you will be sitting in class, definitely you are going to learn something, but if you are not coherent enough, you will not learn up to the level at which I want to bring you there. Agreed? So tell me, what about the quality of video and audio? If it is perfect, just write perfect over the live chat. So straight away, go back into the working board, and there I am going to take few number of very simple yet very crucial problem. As you can see the heading of the questions which I am going to take, that has been the questions related to the basic questions on straight line. How many number of questions we are going to take in today's class? Probably the 10 number of questions we are going to take in today's class. Let me focus over the first question. For the better understanding, let me bring this problem into the working board. This has been the first question. Problem goes to the working board. Just a minute. Just a minute. Here comes the problem. Probably this problem must be visible to all of us. If it is not visible, let me orally communicate what the problem states. The problem states, find the equation of the line joining the point -1, 3 and 4, -2 would be. Tell me, what would be the equation of this straight line? Anyways, let me explain this problem a bit graphically. Let's take a coordinate system. As it has been a 2D coordinate system, that means the horizontal axis would be called as the x-axis, vertical axis would be called as a y-axis. So here goes the horizontal axis as a x-axis, here goes the vertical axis as a y-axis. X-axis and y-axis. You had the 2 points. May I know where they were? The first point was at -1, 3. Just wanted to ask, -1, 3 would be situated in which quadrant? The value of x has been negative. That means the point could be either in second quadrant or third quadrant. And as the value of y has been positive, that means the point has to fall over the or above the x-axis. So if you take the intersection towards the left hand side of the y-axis, towards the upside of the x-axis, definitely the intersection has been the second quadrant. That means the point has been somewhere. Let's take it's a -1, somewhere it's a -3. So this point has been -1, of 3, and similarly the second point has been 4, -2. What does it mean by the 4? The value of x has been positive. If the value of x has been positive, obviously the point has to be either in first quadrant or the fourth quadrant, but the value of y has been negative. That means it has to be towards downside. Obviously the point has been somewhere 4, -2. That means you had to derive an equation for a straight line which has been passing through -1, 3 and 4, -2. So you can draw a straight line which has been passing through it. Tell me, what would be the equation of this straight line? In standard it has been written as y is equals to of mx plus c. I would like to take the input from each one of you, and as I was suggesting in the last class, whenever you attend my class, try to have the two-way communication. Whenever I used to ask any sort of problem, try to give the answer over the live chat. Then only I will be able to understand how far you are able to digesting the concept which has been delivered from my side. My dear friends, whenever you had to find the equation of the straight line, and if you know the 2 points through which the straight line has been passing through, let's take those points have been x1, y1, and the second point has been x2, y2. Easily the equation of the straight line can be retrieved. May I know what used to be the equation of the straight line? That used to be x minus of x1 divided by of x2 minus of x1 is equals to of y minus of y1 is equals to of y2 minus of y1. Let me start feeding the data. See, x1 has been minus of 1, so obviously minus of minus becomes plus, that it becomes plus of 1. x2 minus of x1, that it becomes 4 minus of minus 1, that would become 5 over here, 5 over here. Similarly, y minus of y1, y1 has been 3, and at denominator we used to take y2 minus of y1, that becomes minus 2 of minus 3, that is nothing but the minus 5 itself, minus 5 itself. Agreed? End of the day, what I would be doing over here, the 5 and 5 has been common towards the denominator side, they can be knocked off. So the minus would be left out towards the denominator side. This minus can be taken towards upside and can be multiplied with y. So the component which has been left out towards left hand side is simply x plus 1, and towards right hand side it becomes minus of y plus of 3, minus of y plus of 3. Agreed? Till this point, probably each and everything must be clear to all of us. G. Ramana, hi dear. Yes. So here, what I would be doing over here, for rearranging this problem into this format, what we had to do, the y has to go towards left hand side, obviously it becomes plus of y, and this minus of x minus of 1 goes towards right hand side. So the equation of the straight line, what we get, it's simply going to be minus x plus of 2, minus x plus of 2. That means the slope has been negative, and you yourself would be able to understand, yes, so slope has been negative because towards a lower value of x, the value of y was higher. Towards a higher value of x, the y was lower. What I am saying, what does it mean by the slope is negative? That means as the value of x is increasing, if the worth of y is keep decreasing, the slope has to be negative. You yourself would be able to understand the minus 1 has been towards left hand side, had the worth of y as 3, and similarly the x is equals to 4 were at the right hand side, and the worth of y was negative. So definitely the slope has to be negative. So the equation of line, yes, equation of line which we have got it is simply y is equals to of minus x plus 2. Now I would like to ask from each one of you, if I change this point as x2 y2 and this point as x1 y1, would I be getting the same equation, or this equation of the straight line would get changed? I know many of the students may not be able to understand, at least at this moment of point. Once they will be sitting in GATE examination, there they will be having one doubt, sir, should I be taking this as a x1 y1 or should I be taking this as a x1 y1? Tell me, if I change the nomenclature of the point from x1 y1 to the x2 y2, and similarly from the x2 y2 to the x1 y1, will I be getting the same or will I be getting the different? Sir, it's a nice explanation to see slope. Thanks, dear. Agreed, no? Till this point, probably each and everything must be clear. No, you are going to enjoy. Yuvraj Singh, I can assure whether my way of communication could be in English, but definitely you are going to enjoy the complete series of the engineering mathematics, because I have made sure that each and everything would be taught from the very basic. And definitely you guys are going to learn a lot. Yes, so nobody should have any doubt. Even the x1 y1 x2 y2 has been swapped, still you will be getting the same answer. If you want to check it out, you can check it out over here. See, here it becomes x. This locations has been taken the location of 1, and this location has been taken as a location of 2. So here it becomes x minus of x1, that's nothing but the 4, divided by of x2 minus of x1, that is nothing but the minus 1 gets subtracted with the minus 4, which would result minus of 5. Similarly, here goes y minus of y1, which would be plus of 2, and here y2 gets subtracted with the y1. Here it becomes 3 minus of minus 2, that would become plus of 5, plus of 5. Here also the same process goes. The 5 goes out. The minus would be brought towards upside. It would become minus of x plus of 4 is equals to of y plus of 2, y plus of 2. So here, if I would like to get, if y has been shifted towards left hand side, so straight line equation which we have got it in our hand is going to be minus x plus of 2. Minus x plus of 2. Why I have taken this as a first question? There are two different significance for which I have taken this first question. First thing, many of the students are not aware with this equation. Although they have used this equation repeatedly in class 9, 10th and 11th, probably they are not able to recall this formula. That is why this problem has been designed. This was the first basis to take this problem. Secondly, many of the students used to have one doubt, can I take this point as a 1 and this point as a 2, or alternatively this point as a 1 and this point as a 2? Would I be getting the same equation or would I be getting the different equation? You would be getting the same equation. So probably this must be clear to all of us, and from here onwards I would expect this formula must be there within your brain, Done. So let me move forward and take the next question. Here goes the next question. And problem related to this sort of questions has been repeatedly asked in case of vector calculus, but I would be able to solve this problem within a minute amount of time with the help of a straight line. That is why this problem has been brought it within this straight line. Tell me what this problem states. Find the area of triangle with vertices A, which has been at minus 3, 4. May I know in which quadrant it has been? The value of x has been at minus, and similarly y has been at plus. What does it mean of it? That means obviously it has to be in second quadrant. Similarly 1, minus 2, it has been in fourth quadrant. 5, 5, it has been in first quadrant. We had the 3 points over the 3 different quadrant. And after meeting all of 3 vertices with a straight line segment, we made a triangle. We want to get the area occupied by this triangle. Anyways, for the better understanding, what I am going to do over here, as I have been doing so far, I would be taking a xy plane. What I am saying, I would be taking a xy plane. Until and unless you do not understand the things graphically, you used to forget with a very fast space. That is why I used to draw each and everything graphically. If we focus over the point A, the value of x has been negative. Definitely it has to be towards left hand side. The value of y has been positive. It has to be in second quadrant. So the first point A has been at second quadrant. Let's take it has been minus 3, 4. Similarly, the second point B has been at 1, minus 2. The value of x has been positive. It has to be either in first or fourth quadrant. But as the value of y is negative, definitely it has to be in fourth quadrant. This has been the point B, 1, minus 2. Similarly, the point C has been in fourth quadrant, as the value of x as well as y both are positive. The locations has been taken tentatively. You cannot say that the locations were taken with the precise values of coordinates. No, it has not been. So let me join them out. It has been the connectivity between A to C, A to B, and B to C. I want to get the area occupied by this triangle. Tell me how we get the area occupied by this triangle. See what happens. I have seen many of the times, most of the time we used to remember the formula of the area under the certain triangle, and most of the time that triangle used to be a right angle triangle. But many of the times you may be facing a certain problem, or you may be facing a certain problem in your technical subjects, that you had to find the area of a certain triangle where it has not been a right angle triangle. Only and only 3 vertices of the triangle is known to you. The formula what we use, anyways, I am not going into its detailed analysis. The formula what we use at very beginning, what I would be doing over here, any of the point would be taken as x1, y1. Any of the second point would be taken as x2, y2. You can take either C or B. Choice is yours. x2, y2. And the last point would be taken as vertex x3, y3. And the area bounded by this 3 vertex is being defined as area is equals to of half times of determinant of x1, y1 1, x2 y2 1, x3 y3 1, x3 y3 1. Once you get the determinant of this 3 cross 3 matrix, whatever the result you get, that has to get multiplied with a half. Whatever the result you get, that would be the area occupied by this triangle. Area occupied by this triangle. Yes. Agreed, no? So let me start feeding the datas. So here the datas are going to be half times of x1 y1, the worth are simply going to be minus 3, 4, 1. x2 y2, the x2 has been 1, y2 has been minus 2. So here it becomes 1, minus 2 and 1. End of the day, the x3 y3 is going to be 5, 5 and 1. 5, 5 and 1. Whatever the result we are getting, that would be the area occupied by this triangle. Anyways, for the better calculation, let me bring this determinant to the next page. I know many of the students would be solving this determinant by the different methodology. Many of the students would pick either of the row and they will do the rest of the analysis by taking the determinant of its minor. Many of the students would apply the row operation, column operation for keeping maximum number of zeros in a certain rows or column. I would say you should not follow that methodology whenever you come across calculation of the determinant of 3 cross 3 matrix. A simplest trick you can use, and from there you can get this determinant probably within 30 to 35 seconds. Just have the faith and just have the focus what I am going to do over here. Keep 1 by 2 as it is outside. Anyways, that half has to get multiplied afterwards. Just focus over this 3 cross 3 matrix. What are the datas we had? We had minus 3, 1, 5, 4, minus 2, 5. Then we had 1, 1 and 1. Whenever you are dealing with the determinant of the 3 cross 3 matrix, you will be having a 3 cross 3 matrix. First, what you had to do, the fourth column and the fifth column would be the repetition of the first column and the second column. That means minus 3, 1, 5 would get repeated once again. It would become minus 3, 1 and 5. And similarly, 4, minus 2 and 5 would get repeated once again. Now what we had to do? Now we had to follow the forward multiplication pattern. How many number of forward multiplication pattern you will be having? See, the 3 data has to get multiplied. Obviously, you cannot take the reference of 1 and 5 because it has only 2 data. You cannot take the reference of 5 because it has only 1 data. So you can take the first reference as a multiplication of minus 3, minus 2 and 1. Then you can take the reference of the multiplication of 4, 1, 5. Then you can take the reference of the multiplication of 1, 1 and 5. 1, 1 and 5. So the forward multiplication which comes in our hand is gonna be minus 3 gets multiplied with a minus 2. The result would be precisely plus 6. 4 gets multiplied with 1, that's 4, gets multiplied with 5, that would become plus of 20. Similarly, the last forward multiplication which is taking place, 1, 1 ja 1 into 5 ja is simply going to be 5. Once you are done with the forward multiplication, it has to get subtracted with the backward multiplication. How many backward multiplication would take place? Obviously, again 3. You can't take this. The first backward multiplication would be 4 into 1 into 1. Then it goes to the minus 3, 1 and 5. And the last goes to the 1, 2 and 1 minus 2 and 5. 1 minus 2 and 5. You can take either this first, either this first, because we had to add them together at last. No? So here it goes like 4 into 1, that's nothing but 4. Here goes minus 3 into 5, that's nothing but the minus of 15. And here goes minus 2 into 5, that is nothing but minus of 10. And that has been the determinant of this 3 cross 3 matrix. This determinant or the method of calculation of the determinant would be very useful even in case of matrix or the linear algebra, where we used to deal with the infinitely many solution, unique solution, indeterminate solution, or the calculation of the rank. There it becomes very, very important. Tell me how much worth we are getting. Obviously, we can add them together. 20 gets added with the 6, that will become 26. 26 would get added with 5, that would become 31. Yes. So here it goes half times of 31. And here it goes minus 15 and minus 10, that would become minus of 25. Minus of 25 gets added with the 4, that would become minus of 21. Minus of 21 gets added with gets added with how much? Yes, just a minute. Yes, 21. End of the day, result what you get, it's gonna be 52 divided by of 2, and that is simply equals to 26 unit square. If the unit is in meter, it would become meter square. If the units of the sides or the vertex has been in centimeters, it would be centimeter squares at last. Yes. So I would repeat once again, whenever the vertex of a certain triangle, I need not worry about the type of triangle, whether it has been a equilateral triangle or right angle triangle. I need not worry about anything. Just focus over this vertex. You have to apply this formula. Once you're done with this formula, you would be able to get its determinant, and once you are able to get its determinant, you will be getting its outcome. Now I would like to ask from each one of you, let me take a practice question. I need to get the determinant of 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 0, 1, 2, 5. Tell me what would be the determinant of this matrix. Although the calculation of the determinant is not in the league of the topic which we have been dealing so far, but still you should have a fair amount of practice for the calculation of 3 cross 3 matrix with the help of this sort trick. Tell me, what is the worth of this determinant? I want the answer within the 30 seconds. Tell me what would be the determinant of this matrix. Even you need not to see the dependency over the rows or over the columns, you just had to copy this column once again. You had to take its forward multiplication minus of, you had to take its backward multiplication. Once you're done with this, you will be getting its determinant. Tell me, what would be the best most answer for this? Just would be giving 30 seconds to get this answer. Tell me, what would be the best most answer? I would request to each one of you, the student who are watching my video live, they can share this video to our various of the Telegram channels, so that most of the student would get benefited. Tell me, what would be the answer for this determinant? See what we are going to do over here. This 131 has to get repeated. 131 has to get repeated. 222 has to get repeated. You can just put the forward multiplication, which is 5 into 2, that's a 10. Then you can go ahead 2, 0 and 1. Keep in mind, if any of the data becomes 0, by default the multiplication would become 0. The next is going to be 3 3s are 9 plus of 2, that's simply 18. That has been the forward multiplication. Similarly, if we'll talk about the backward multiplication, how the backward multiplication would take place, you have to start with 2 3s, that's a 6, 6 5s, that's a 30. Obviously, it has been 30 straight away. Now the 1 gets multiplied with a 0. If any of the component has been 0, obviously the multiplication becomes 0. If you want, you can write it over here, 0. And the next goes 3 2s, 6. Simply it has been 6. Yes. Let me add them together. The 10 gets added with the 18. The result would be precisely 28. 28 minus of 36. The result what we get, it's gonna be minus 8. So the one answer I have got it from the Sumit Kumar. Probably the answer which you have found is supposed to be wrong. You can check once again whether you are getting the answer as a minus 8 or not. Let me check once again. The 131 has been same, 222 has been same. What we are going to do over here, the forward multiplication, that's 10, it becomes 0, it becomes 18, that's fine. You will be talking about the backward multiplication. The 5 gets multiplied with the 3, that becomes 15, into 2, that becomes 30, it becomes 0, it becomes 6. Okay, so here 18 plus 10, it's gonna be 28, that is also fine. 30 plus 6, that becomes minus of 36. End of the day, the 28 is getting subtracted with the minus 36, or at 28 minus of 36, the result what we get, it's gonna be minus 8. Somewhere you can write this as an important trick, because what I feel, at least in one question you are going to deal with the determinant of 3 cross 3 matrix in your GATE examination, and there most of the student suffers a lot. Yes, till this point probably each and everything must be clear to all of us. In the same sequence, we are going to increase the level of the problem which we are going to take, or which we are going to make over the straight line. So let me go back. Here goes the third question of the day. Yes. Find the area of triangle whose sides are 12 cm, 6 cm and 15 cm. 15 cm. Yes. The variant of the problem has been different, has been bit different. In last problem, we were aware of the vertex at which the triangle has been framed, but rather knowing the vertex, I have been known with the sides of the triangle. Sides of the triangle. For the time being, let me draw a tentative triangle. Let's take the length has been 12. Let's take the length has been 15. Where should I be taking? Yes, 15. Yes, and this length has been 6 over here. 6 over here. The vertex has been falling over the point A, B and C. A, B and C. Let's take the length has been, or the sides has been 12 cm long. Here it has been 15 cm long, and here it has been 6 cm long. 6 cm long. And you are interested finding the area under the triangle which was occupied by the sides having its length as 12 cm, 6 cm and 15 cm. Which formula we do use? We use Heron's formula. We use Heron's formula. Heron's formula. Heron's formula. May I know what used to be the Heron's formula and how do we remember this formula? The Heron's formula used to be S minus A, S minus B, S minus C, S minus C. S gets multiplied with the S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. Where the S is the addition of all of three sides, which is getting divided by 2. Which is getting divided by 2. I have seen many of the times the student used to forget this formula. My dear friends, how this formula have been coming, the derivation part I am not going into the great detail, but at least you can remember in terms of it, their units. The S has been side, as you have been dealing with the side plus of side plus of side, it could be in meters, it could be in centimeters. End of the day, S would also have the unit same as maybe meter. The meter is getting multiplied with the meter, would become meter square, is getting multiplied with the meter, again would become meter cube, and now it's getting multiplied with another meter, it would become meter to the power of 4. And meter to the power of 4 has been raised to the power of half, so end of the day, the result what you are getting is simply gonna be unit square, whatever the unit you might be possessing within your problem, Agreed what I'm saying? And one of the most important thing, if you'll be talking about the S would always be greater than the value of A and B and C. That means whatever the worth you are getting after subtraction of A or with B or C, all of them are leading the positive value. All of them are leading the positive value. If you want, you can check it out. See, 12 plus of 6, that's gonna be 18. 18 plus of 15, that's gonna be 32. 33 divided by F2. Divided by F2. Yes. Let me check it out whether we are getting the same value or not. 12 gates added with the 6, that is the 18. That's the 18. 18 gates added with the 15, the result would be 33. The 33 is getting divided with the 2. The result what we are getting is simply going to be 16.5. 16.5. So if we'll be focusing over the area occupied by this triangle whose sides are known, straight away start feeding the values. The S is simply going to be 16.5. 16.5. Now the 16.5 has to get subtracted with the A. You can take any of them as A, any of them as B, any of them as C, because as far the formula is concerned, there would not be any difference as such. So it becomes 16.5 gets subtracted with the 12, which would become 4.5 alone. Similarly, 16.5 gets subtracted with the 6, it would become 10.5 alone, 10.5 alone. And similarly, if 16.5 gets subtracted with the 15, the result would be 1.5 alone. Anyways, I am not interested to find its exact value, otherwise I can calculate with a calculator, but the process were more important. The process were more important. That means whenever you have been discussing, but I am saying whenever you have been discussing about the area occupied by a certain triangle whose all three sides are known to me, with the help of Heron's formula, easily you would be able to get its area. And similarly, if you have been dealing with a certain triangle whose all three vertex are known and you are intended to get its area, you can do it by this formula, which is nothing but a formula of determinant. And yes, I would say this trick should also be known to all of us. Should also be known to all of us. Agreed? So probably till this point, nobody would have any doubt. Nobody would have any doubt. In the same sequence, let me move forward. Let me move forward. Let me take the fourth question. Here goes the fourth question. Here goes the fourth question. And this has been the question which has to be solved by you guys. And probably it should not take more than 1 minute. It should not take more than 1 minute. Let me read what this problem states exactly. Find the value of small x. Find the value of small x for which the points x, comma, -1, comma, 2, comma, 1 and 4, comma, 5 are collinear. I wanted to have the value of x such that all of 3 points has been the collinear points. What does that mean by the collinear points? That means all of three points has been fallen over the same equation of the straight line. Same equation of the straight line. Tell me, how will you get the value of x? And what would be the exact value of x? How will you get the value of x and what would be the exact value of x? You can use the formulas which we have used in the last two problems. Tell me, what would be the value of x over here? What would be the value of x over here? Or if you don't understand what would be the value of x, at least discuss a bit over the live chat. What would be your methodology to solve this problem and is to get the value of x? Which methodology you would be using with this problem? You would be using with this problem. See what I would do. Let's take, we had the 3 points, no? Any of them can be taken as point A. Let's take it has been point A, it has been point B and it has been point C. I have taken the point A, B, C falls over the 2D coordinate system. Let's take A, B and C. A, B and C. It has been A, it has been B and it has been C. Let me join them together. A gets connected with B, B gets connected with C and A gets connected with C. Although as per the representation of the point A, B, C over the coordinate system is concerned, they have not been collinear. That is why the area has been fabricated by this 3 vertex. But in future, what I am saying, if this point B falls over the straight line AC somewhere here, may I know what would be the area occupied by the triangle ABC? First of all, it won't be triangle thereafter. That would not be a triangle thereafter. And if you really understood or if you really assume that this has been the triangle, you had to have the area as 0. So you can assume in this way, whenever you have been dealing with the 3 point and you had to correlate or you had to find a certain relationship at which all of 3 have been collinear, you can assume those 3 points has been the vertex of a triangle, and as they have been collinear, their area under the curve would be simply 0. Agreed what I am saying? So end of the day, what you had to do? You had to focus over the area of the triangle. What used to be the area of the triangle? Once the vertex are known, it becomes half. It becomes x1 y1 of 1, x2 y2 of 1, x3 y3 of 1. Here it becomes x minus of 1 plus of 1. Here goes 2, 1 and 1. Here it goes 4, 5 and 1. And if the A, B, C has to be collinear, their determinant has to be simply 0 or the area under the curve has to be simply 0. You can write one of the important outcome. If point A, B and C has been collinear, the area occupied by them has to be 0. The area occupied by them has to be 0. So obviously it has to get compared with 0. Tell me what would be the precise most answer or the precise most value of x after this calculation. My dear friends, you could have calculated this problem into the 2 different methodology. First, the short trick. the first and second column has to get repeated once again. You will be taking its forward multiplication minus of, you will be taking its backward multiplication, you have to get compared with 0. That's the first methodology. Secondly, if you really want to make this determinant as 0, definitely at least one row would be dependent on the rest of 2, and at least one column would be dependent on the rest of 2. Then only the determinant becomes 0. Can you see it is happening or not? It is happening. You yourself would be able to understand. If you add 1 and 1, and if you get, or if you divide with the 2, definitely 1 have come. And if you add 5 and minus 1, whatever the result comes, the result is gonna be 4. And if you divide with the 2, definitely again 1 do come. Just a minute. Yes. So tell me what would be the best most answer for it. Tell me what would be the best most answer for it. What would be the best most answer for it? I need to get the value of x over here. If you're not able to maintain a certain dependency over the rows or over the columns, simply you can get the sort trick which we have been using so far. Tell me what would be the best most answer. I want this answer within the amount of 30 seconds. Tell me what would be the best most answer. What must be the value of x over here? First try for the dependency. If you're not getting the dependency, you can move forward. See what is happening over here. Rub this out. What I'm saying, rub this out. Repeat the starting 2 column. Do it faster. You should save the time over here such that you'll go ahead and compare with the rest of your competitor. See what's happening over here. X gets multiplied with the 1 and 1. Obviously, it's simply gonna be x. Minus 1 gets multiplied with the 1, remains minus 1. Gets multiplied with the 4. Obviously, it would become minus of 4. Similarly, 1 gets multiplied with 2 plus of 5. That becomes plus of 10. You have to take the backward multiplication. That would start from minus 1 gets multiplied with the 2. That's the minus 2 itself. Similarly, x gets multiplied with the 5. That's the 5 of x. And similarly, here it goes only on the 4. The result has to get compared with 0, and the half, as it has been switched towards right hand side, it gets multiplied with the 0. Results is simply 0. Results only 0. So here minus 4 plus of 10 would make it plus of 6. Here it becomes minus 2 plus of 4. That would become plus of 2 plus of 5x is equals to 0. So what is happening over here? X plus of 6 minus of 2 minus of 5 of x is equals to 0. So x minus of 5 of x would make it minus of 4x. 6 minus of 2, that would become 4. 4 would go towards right hand side, would become minus of 4. So end of the day, the result of x, what we get, it simply equals to 1. Simply equals to 1. Yes, no? Till this point, probably nobody should have any sort of doubt. And yes, the problem is done by keeping x is equals to 1. Now, with the help of few elementary operations, maybe over the rows or columns, you can see that either of the row or either of the column has got dependent on the rest. Yes. In the same sequence, let me go forward and take a well-designed problem. This sort of problem has been keep coming into the GATE examination. Just a minute. Why it has not been popped up? Let me see over here. So the question which I am going to take now, yes, a very important question, which has been the fifth question of the day. And this sort of problem has been repeatedly been asked into the GATE examination. So in terms of GATE examination, this sort of problem has been a utterly important problem. Let me read this problem carefully and then we'll try to decode this problem out. What this problem states: find the equation of the line perpendicular to the line x minus of 7y plus of 5 is equals to of 0 and having x intercepts at point 3 or x is equals to of 3. solution, solution. And you can put this problem as a very, very important problem. Repeatedly this problem have been coming in civil and mechanical. Definitely it's time to come. Yes, even in electrical also this problem have come. In electrical also this problem have come. See what this problem says. Find the equation of the line perpendicular to the line x minus of 7y plus of 5 is equals to 0 and having x intercepts 3. At very beginning what I am going to do, I am going to take the reference of the standard format of the straight line, which used to be y is equals to of mx plus c. Y is equals to of mx plus c. Let's take this has been the first equation of the straight line. If you take the second equation of the straight line where the slope has been minus 1 upon m, and you can take any of the value of constant. Let's take this has been the equation 2. This has been the equation 2. Keep in mind the equation 1 or the straight line which was denoted by the equation 1 and the straight line which was denoted by the equation 2, they would be perpendicular to each other. They would be perpendicular to each other. So from here onwards you can assume the two straight lines, you can write two straight lines are perpendicular to each other provided their slopes multiplication. Let's take the first straight line had the slope is equals to m1 and the second straight line had the slope is equals to m2. Their slope multiplication has to result minus 1. You need not to follow or you need not to have any problem over the C2. C2 can be anything. That is why I have taken the first equation as y of mx plus c where the slope has been m. So deliberately I have chosen the next slope as a minus 1 divided by m such that m and m would get smashed out and the result would be minus 1. Yes. Let me focus over the basis at which this calculation has been made. So I would like to have the answer from each one of you. What would be the best most answer? I would like to have the input from each one of you. Tell me what would be the best most answer. First focus from where the m1 into m2 has come to be minus 1 if both of these straight line has to be perpendicular to each other. Just try to understand this one. For the better understanding, I have taken a 2D plane. Let's take for the time being it has been xy plane. It has been x-axis, it has been y-axis. Over the xy plane you have taken a straight line. Let's take it has been your first straight line and had its slope as m1. Now you want to draw another line which must be perpendicular to the older line. Let's take another straight line which has been drawn over the pink curve and it has been something like this. And as it has been perpendicular to the older line, the angle which must be maintained between L1 and L2 at the point of intersection has to be 90 degree. Yes. Till this point probably each and everything must be clear to all of us. Let me focus over the slope of line 1. How the slope of line 1 is or how the slope of any line is being calculated. What we do? First we calculate the angle of line taking the reference of positive x-axis anti-clockwise direction. Let's take this angle has been theta 1. So the slope offered by the line 1 which has been m1 can be simply written as tangent of the angle which was made by the straight line taking the reference of the positive axis. Why I am taking the reference of the positive axis, you yourself would be able to understand. This angle and this angle would be very same angle because they have been corresponding angle. Yes, no? They have been corresponding angles, so they would be very same. So here it becomes tan of theta 1. Tan of theta 1. Similarly, if you will be focusing over the slope of the second straight line, for the time being it has been said to be m2. How it has to be calculated? Again, you would take the reference of positive x-axis. All the way you had to come till this point anti-clockwise direction. What would be the angle? The angle would be theta 1, and already the angle separation between line 1 and line 2 was 90 degree. So the 90 degree is getting added with the theta 1. So may I know what would be the worth of m2? The worth of the m2 is gonna be 10 of the corresponding angle theta becomes 90 plus of theta 1. 90 plus of theta 1. Once we multiply them together, the result what we get, it's simply going to be minus of cot theta. Minus of cot theta. Let's take, this has been equation number 3 and this has been equation number 4. And if you multiply the equation 3 and 4, one of the best result what you get in your hand is simply going to be m1 into m2 has to be equals to of tan theta into cot theta. They have been inversely related to each other. The result which would come in our hand is simply going to be this, which has been m1 into m2 is equals to minus 1. So from here onwards, whenever we have been discussing about the two straight line, when the one straight line is perpendicular to the next straight line, by default the relationship what they must be possessing, that must be m1 into of m2 is equals to of minus 1. Many of the students would have one doubt, sir, why this C2 is not affecting their perpendicular behavior? No, it's not going to affect. Why? If you did not change the slope of the second line or slope of the first line, and if you keep changing the value of C, what is happening? The same straight line would be going towards downside and would go towards the upside without changing its slope. And if the slope is not getting changed, still it is going to be perpendicular over the line. Yes, if you want, we can draw over here. Even the C is reduced, no? The C of the straight line 2 has been reduced. Parallelly, it is going to go down. Even it is further reduced, again parallelly it's going to go down. Even the value of C has been increased, parallelly it is going to go up. In all of the cases, it has been 90 degree from the older line. Yes, no? So that is what I am saying. If you have got the two straight lines, and if you wanted to make both of them to be perpendicular to each other, just focus over the relationship between their slopes. Their slope multiplication has to be minus 1. Taking the reference of this outcome, you had to smash this problem out. And yes, this problem has been repeatedly been asked into the GATE examination in the different ways. Tell me, how will you smash this problem out? At very beginning, I would try to feed x minus of 7, y plus of 5 is equals to 0 in the form of y is equals to mx plus c, such that I had the fair idea of m. So let me recall the form of straight line what we had. Obviously, we had to retrieve m out. For that, what I am going to do over here, the minus 7 would be kept as it is towards left hand side. Now what happens, the x would go towards right hand side would become minus of x, 5 would go towards my right hand side would become minus of 5. This minus and minus going to be cracked them out. So here it's going to be simply x plus of 5. And here goes y is equals to of 1 divided by of 7x plus of 5. I repeat, the 7 has to go down towards right hand side. It would get multiplied with the x as well as it would get multiplied with the 5. Obviously here also it's going to be 5 by 7. And if you'll focus over its slope, I can call this as a straight line 1. So obviously its slope would be m of 1. And if you want to make another straight line which must be perpendicular to this straight line, what must be that equation? That equation has to be y is equals to of m1, which has been 1 upon 7 into m2 has to be equals to of minus 1. So the worth of m2 which we have got it is precisely minus of 7. Minus of 7 of x plus of c plus of c. But here specifically in this problem, one more important data has been attached. What it is? That the straight line which you had to draw in perpendicular to this straight line has to intercept the x-axis over the point 3. What does that mean by the x-axis? The x-axis is the axis where the worth of y would be 0. If once you will be feeding y is equals to 0 at x is equals to of 3, even you can get the value of c also. What I am saying, the data which has been given, the intercept over the x-axis, at x-axis the value of y would be 0 and the x has been precisely given as 3. Precisely given as 3. So why don't you start feeding the data over here? The y gets 0, the 3 would get multiplied with the minus of 7, the minus of 7 into 3 would become minus of 21, minus of 21 would get shifted towards right hand side, the c would become plus of 21, plus of 21. So end of the day, precise most straight line what we got in our hand is gonna be minus 7x plus of 21, minus 7x plus of 21. Yes, I tried a lot to connect this mobile phone over this such that I would be able to show whether they have been connected properly or not. Anyways, let me see that. Let me see that if it is getting connected. Let me go back. If it is gets connected, definitely you would be visualize the things into the proper way. Into the proper way. Creating a new session. Let's see whether it gets connected. So here goes the session ID 332137. Yes, probably it's getting connected now. Yes. Now my mobile is getting shared over here. So what are the different equations we had? Let me go back. The two equations you had, no? Two equations we had, we are going to feed over here. Feed over the 2D grapher. The first equation was x plus 5 divided by 7. The first equation was x plus 5 divided by of 7. That was my first equation. Similarly, the second equation what we got was minus 7x plus, even you can keep 2, you can keep 3, you can keep 4, whatever it might be. But anyways, end of the day I kept the value of c as 21, but what I am saying, the c is not going to depend anymore. So you can keep minus 7x plus you can keep 5, even you can keep minus 7x plus of you can keep even 6 also. You can keep even 6 also. Yes. Let me go back. Just a minute. You can keep 10. Yes. Let me go back, probably if it is visible over here. Yes, you yourself would be able to see clearly. We had the three different equations. What was the first equation? The first equation was clearly given as x divided by 7 plus 5 divided by 7. It has been clearly visible over here. And you wanted to design the few number of straight lines which must be perpendicular to each other. So what was the basic requirement? The requirement was the m1 into m2 has to be equals to of minus 1. The m1 was equals to of 1 upon 7. So by default the m2 has to be minus 7. Deliberately I have taken the two straight lines where both of them had the same value of slope but they had this different values of c. See, this blue curve has been the curve for the first line. Similarly, this orange curve has been the second curve, and similarly this pink curve has been the second curve. And if you really want to see how it is looking like, just a minute, you yourself would be able to understand it. This has been the first equation. This has been the perpendicular equation to the first equation. This has been the perpendicular equation to the second equation. If I would like to write over here, yes, they have been perpendicular to each other. And if you really want to see how the equations were, this equation was x divided by of 7 plus of 5 divided by 7. Obviously, y is equals to. This was y is equals to of minus 7x plus of 5, and this was y is equals to of minus 7x plus of 7, not 7, 10 it is, and they have been perpendicular to each other. Could you understand? I am just going to draw with the help of mobile. It's not like in pre-planned way I have drawn this straight line. No, I'm just using the mathematical conclusions which we have got it in the last problem with the help of this 2D grapher which we call it Desmos. I would suggest to each one of you, try to have the Desmos on your mobile just to draw the 2D curve to have the better understanding of the mathematics in terms of its graph. In terms of its graph. Could you understand what I'm saying? You yourself would be able to see that. Yes. This blue curve has been this curve which has been x divided by 7 plus 5 divided by 7, and here goes the orange color curve, and here it goes, here goes the pink curve, pink curve. So I don't find that any of us would have any sort of doubt now, So what would be the best most answer? If you want to just satisfy that they had to be perpendicular, you can have any of the answer, keeping c is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, minus 2, 1, minus 1, 3. But as you want to feed one thing, that it must be passing through the x is equals to 0, c. So obviously the best most answer would be this. Best most answer would be this. Yes, no? Just wanted to ask from each one of you whether you are enjoying this way of teaching or not, or whether you are getting the concept properly or not, because your feedback is utterly important. Because the way I used to teach, I have been teaching since 10 years, I know the most of the students would be getting my each and individual information, but it is still just for sake of understanding. I wanted to know whether you are able to get the each and individual concepts properly or not. Probably you must be. You must be. Yes. In the same sequence, let me move forward. Here goes the question over here. Just a minute. Here goes the question. Here goes the sixth question. Utterly spicy problem it is. And you can expect this sort of problem is going to come in the next year. Utterly spicy problem. Not a very difficult problem, but yes, requires a lot of basic understanding of the curve. Here goes the sixth question. Let me copy this out and bring it to the working board. You can put this as a very, very important question in terms of your gate. See what this problem states. Find the equation of the straight line which is tangent on y is equals to of x square at 1, 1. Tell me what would be the equation of that straight line. And this sort of problem has been coming specifically in production, electrical as well as mechanical. And you can expect in future this sort of problem may also get appeared in electronics, instrumentation or chemical. Let me start from the very basic part. For the better understanding, let me take xy plane. Here goes the vertical axis, y-axis. Here goes the horizontal axis, x-axis. X-axis, y-axis. First focus over the y is equals to x square. Although we have not talked much detail, or we have not been understood the concept of the parabola, but still the student who have a bit idea about the concept of the parabola, they must be knowing about it. Y is equals to x square is going to be an upper facing parabola. It is going to be upper facing parabola. Yes, it has been a upper facing parabola. So here it goes, upper facing parabola. It has been upper facing parabola. Now you have to draw the tangent at the point 1, 1. At very beginning, let me focus whether the 1, 1 has been the part of y is equals to x square or not. Yes, it has been. How did we know about it? When we feed x is equals to of 1, even the value of y has been found to be 1. So obviously 1, 1 has been the part of y is equals to x square curve. Obviously would be falling somewhere here in the first quadrant. This point has been 1, 1. This point has been 1, 1. I had to draw the tangent over the point 1, 1. What does it mean by the tangent? The Hindi wording would be better. Sparsrekha. In Hindi we call it Sparsrekha. That means we are going to draw a straight line which would be just kissing this point and would travel towards the forward and backward. So tell me how that straight line would be. Let me take a white color. The straight line would be something like this. Just a minute. It has to be pure tangent. No, it would not cross this curve. It would just kiss this curve at 1, 1. And this would be a straight line, my dear friend. Although you might be dealing with the tangent is a type of straight line. Obviously it would be following the equation of y is equals to of mx plus c. You had to get this equation. You had to get this equation. That is what's been asked now. Find the equation of the straight line which is tangent over y is equals to x square at a point 1, 1. My dear friends, there have been the two unknowns. The first was m, the second has been c. If you're done with the m and c, you are done. You are done. How the m would be calculated? Easily m can be calculated by taking the differentiation at point 1, 1. Because the differentiation of y with respect to the x is very same as tangent at that point, tan of theta, and that is nothing but the slope. That is nothing but the slope. So at very beginning what I would be doing, I would be taking the differentiation of y over x. So the differentiation of y over x would be d of dx of x square. The result would be 2 of x. 2 of x. What the 2 of x indicates? It indicates the slope of the curve. The slope of the curve, just a minute. It indicates the slope of the curve is directly proportional to the x. You yourself would be able to understand. When the x was 0, the slope was 0. When the x was 1, the slope was 1, which was 45 degree. And similarly, as the x is increasing, you yourself would be able to understand the slope is keep on increasing. So where you exactly wants to know the slope? You wants to know exactly slope at x is equals to 1. Here the x has been 1, no? So you would be feeding x is equals to 1. The result has been 2. A result has been 2. So obviously you could have got the equation of the straight line which has been y is equals to of 2x plus of c. Still you are in search of c. How will you get the value of c? The straight line passes through 1, 1, although it has been the point over the upper facing parabola, but this is also a point through which the straight line do cross. So you will be feeding y is equals to 1 and x is equals to 1, and accordingly you would get the value of c over here. So why don't we start feeding the data? Y has been 1, 2 gets multiplied with 1 and it gets added with c. So end of the day the result what we get, it would be c is equals to of minus of 1. So here it becomes 2x minus of 1. 2x minus of 1. Agreed? No? Let me do one thing. Let me see if we would be able to draw this out. Again we had to connect it. Let me see it is getting connected or not. Just a minute. The session ID has been 332137. Yes. Let me go to the Desmos. The two curve we had. Let me remove the earlier curve. The first curve was y is equals to of x square. Simply it's going to be x square. X raised to 2. Yes, it has been upper facing parabola. You can see which has been drawn by the green curve. And the next straight line which was drawn or which was retrieved, which was tangent over the point 1, 1, what it was? That was probably 2x minus 1. 2x minus 1. Just a minute. 2x minus 1. See how the curve is. You yourself would be able to understand. Let me expand a bit. Which point precisely it is? The green curve has been an upper facing parabola, and similarly this straight line has been the straight line which has been tangent over the point 1, 1. You would be able to see precisely, yes, it has been the tangent at point 1, 1. Could you able to figure it out? It's not the predefined curve. I have just fed over the calculator and just wanted to see whether we are getting the same outcome which we were calculating or not. Yes, we are getting the same. If you want to expand it, just a minute. This has been y is equals to x square curve. This has been y is equals to of 2x minus of 1, and this has been the point 1 comma of 1 where this straight line has been tangent over the parabola. This sort of problem are repeatedly being asked into the GATE examination. I would suggest to each one of you from today onwards, have a patience and try to grasp each and individual thing and try to jot it down, each and every individual concepts which we are dealing into the class into your copy. Otherwise, if you're not following that process, end of the day, you will land up nowhere. You will be getting the rank of 2000, 3000, and then you will be giving the telegram, or you will be seeing which college would be the perfect within the range of 4000, 5000. That would take place if you are not sincerely following whatever has been said by the teacher. Anyways, this is all regarding the today's video. This is all regarding the today's video. We would come with the same basics of the engineering mathematics precisely at 9 p.m. and the class would last probably till 10 p.m. Tomorrow, day after tomorrow, in sequence, we are going to have engineering mathematics. Bye bye, take care, good night.